So it is Review Wednesday here on Indoor Smokers, and today we got a good one as I'm going to be showing you guys the highly requested Subox Mini Starter Kit. It includes the newly redesigned Sub-Tank Mini as well as the new Subox Mini. Two great tastes that taste great together. Alright Vapesters, so I do feel like this is actually a pretty unique little mod that kind of has something for everybody. It's got elements that could appeal to the new vapors or people just stepping up to sub-ohm vaping, but it still has that 1.5 coil option. It also does have a rebuildable deck, so a lot of stuff to get into. Might as well just go ahead and start pulling stuff out of here. First thing you're going to notice, I'd already taken off a little bit of flyers up here. An actual real in-depth instruction manual. So this thing's actually a little bit more than just a few tips in Chinglish. This thing actually gets into some details, tells you how to do everything from the basics of putting the tank together, changing out the coil, and then even goes into more detail about wicking your coils for the rebuildable stuff. You got the stuff about your verification so that you can verify that you have a legit Kanger product, but if you use the link I'll put underneath, you'll make sure you always get a legit one anyway. And then a little using guide, which I thought was kind of interesting. I haven't seen before. They tell you first to pre-soak your coils so you get them primed, but then they've got a little scale here, and depending on what VG, PG combo you're using, they give you recommended wattages. See if you guys can see this. So depending on which coil you're using and what percentage VG you're using, they tell you where the optimum wattage range is. So kind of cool, not something I'd probably really reference too much, but for the new Vapesters, you can go ahead and throw that in your wallet. Well, as you guys can see, I have the black kit, obviously, with the black Sub-Tank Mini here. Now this is our newly redesigned Sub-Tank Mini with a new vertical coil that uses all Japanese cotton in there. Just want to let you guys see that we do have some good stuff down on the second level here. So you got your Japanese organic cotton for the rebuilders out there. They also give you a couple of coils plus a little screwdriver in case you're new to the rebuilding world, I guess, and don't have your own. You got your charger. So right down at the bottom there, you've got your 1.5 and your rebuildable coil. So I'll show you guys what the regular coils look like. This is the 1.5 that they send with it. As you can see, just a huge beefy coil. It seems like they've expanded the juice holes. I noticed it seems like there's a lot more room for juice now. And you can see that they indent, which I think makes it a little bit easier to prime these because you almost got a little bit of a funnel kind of action going on there. Finally, for the rebuilders among you, you got all this craziness going on. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. This thing's got a little bit of something for everybody, or one person can really grow from using original tanks up to the sub-ohm tanks and then going into the rebuilding, all with this one mod and starter kit. So that is pretty nice. I, of course, myself, am not going to be using the rebuildable part. I'm going to go ahead and just fill up the tank and use that with the 0.5. So the first thing I want to do is let you guys see it is a very slick little device. 510 threaded, of course. You can use an adapter on that so it can be used with your Ego threaded tanks. There's your venting. It does take an 18650, so that's the first thing you're going to need to know. It doesn't have a built-in battery. And then they gave you these little strips of tape, so I just went ahead and put one on there. I assumed they were for that, so it looked good. You do, although, have your mini USB port right here, which is a perfect position for it. It has a little indent so you can charge it easily while it stands. I do love the way they set that up. So you are going to need to order an 18650 battery with it. You won't necessarily need a charger because you can charge it right off the unit itself. I also love the new magnetic-y pieces that you don't even need screws for anymore. A lot of them are starting to use those now. Once you have your 18650 in there, you're going to see everything will come to life. Alright, you can see it's blinking for the ohms because I don't have a tank on here yet. And this is a 50 watt unit. It can be adjusted between 7 and 50 watts in 0.1 increments. So pretty nice vaping range on it. And it can read resistances down to 0.3. So there's a little bit of a limitation there. You're not going to be able to use the 0.2 Atlantis 2 coils or the Atlantis Megas. And there are a couple other tanks out there now using 0.2 coils. So just something to keep in mind. It should vape incredibly in that range with either the 0.5 or the 1.5 coils that come with it. So why don't we go ahead, we will get the Sub-Tank Mini filled up and then get this thing on there so we can actually try the whole thing out. Alright, you just fill it from the base like so. And if you're going to replace that coil, it just twists right out, very easy. Alright, back to the old sample box to find a bottle of juice. I found one in there called Cactus Juice. Smells alright. I'm about 90%. I go by my smell on e-juice. I can just tell if I'm going to like it or not, usually right from that. And it's a 4 milliliter tank, I believe, which they call it the mini, but by most tank standards, that's a pretty average tank. It's not really a mini. Alright, now this is one you're going to want to be extremely careful with when you fill it. You can take a look. But the air stem only goes up about halfway in this. I've got a suspicion that's because you need room for this huge ass cube to go in there. I think when we turn it right side up, it should look just about full. And the airflow adjustment on this, I'm noticing on mine at least, is super tight. Like almost to the point where you're going to unscrew it before you can actually adjust the airflow. But it does have pinhole to medium hole to full open gaping hole. I can tell you though, with that pinhole, you can really get a mouth to lung hit off of this. See if you guys can actually see the little hole in there. Alright, well let's go ahead and put these two together. The back has a little bit of a wiggle to it, and I'm not loving that, especially the fact that it's only magnetic on there. You want to feel like it's extra strong. Not a major thing, but I think I would get a couple extra little pieces that hook into things to really solidify that up. Anyways, I'm going to start it off on a 25 watt vape. I'll go ahead and do this on a full lung hit on that 0.5 resistance coil. Here's my first 25 watt hit on the new Subox mini kit. Not too bad. It's probably going to need to power up a little bit more than 25 watts. I'll give you guys a little size example. This is the Ely 50 watt, which have been known as being some of the smallest mods on the market. So you can see size-wise, it's probably about the same width. And I don't know, I would say maybe 90% the length of it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and try it at 30 watts, see how she does. Good vape. I definitely can't complain about that. Now you can hold the plus and minus for 2 seconds, and it'll switch it for a left-handed, for you weirdo left-handers out there. Trying a left-handed vape just makes me feel janky. I'm just playing, you lefties. I'll try it right where I usually like to do my 0.5 resistance vapes at like 32.5. Yeah, that's no joke, man. You're getting a ton of vapor. I really like the flavor and the vapor consistency better off of these new coils. I probably like the Subtank Nano was my favorite, but I was not a big fan of them in general. But I do like this. I think this is a much better vape than the originals. A lot of it may be the difference in wicking materials, but whatever it is, it's awesome. I don't feel like you'd get any dry hits off of these with the new super big juice holes on it. I'll go ahead and do one vape on this at 40 watts. Shit. No choking, no coughing. I mean, a really smooth, even vape, even at 40 watts. I gotta say, I'm a little bit impressed myself. I was expecting this thing to kind of hit me a little bit harder than that, but really smooth. This Cactus Juice ain't too bad either. Anybody knows anything more about this Cactus Juice? I don't even know where it comes from. Like I said, I got it out of my sample box, but if somebody knows, you can tell us down in the comments. This was kind of a first look and demonstration. I will come back to this one enough. I feel like it's got enough different parts and details that it's worthy of another review. And I'm sure people are going to want to know how this Subox Mini is going to vape on other tanks as well. So I'll come back, try it on a couple different tanks. So again, this is your K-Box Mini setup. I got to say, my first impression is good. Alright guys, that's going to do it for me for this lovely Wednesday. Hopefully you guys are having a good day. Make sure you tune in tomorrow as we take a look at the new 160 watt temperature control device from Tesla.
And don't forget to subscribe to Indoor Smokers. Come on, Will, what else have you got to do? Seriously.
And don't forget to use the link underneath this video if you want to go check out a little bit more about this Kanger Tech Subox Mini. Uh-oh, I think I'm being invaded. What's going on?
What up, yo?
I told him to watch the door.